What's up, everybody? You were tuned in to the Cris Style
And Mo,
Podcast, episode 168, Takeover Wednesdays. Hope everybody's having a good night. Whatever you're doing, you're at home, you're at work, whatever you're doing, we appreciate you tapping in with us tonight. If you're listening on the playback, we appreciate you too. Leave a comment in the comment section. We got a lot to speak on. We got NFL schedules have been revealed today. NBA playoff stuff, some college football stuff, boxing news, Canelo Alvarez and Crawford news, and random news today. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Before we do that, Maul, how you doing, sir?
man, I'm good, brother. Can't complain, man. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. You know, it's Monday for me, so
Mm-hmm.
uh, another slow one at work.
I already know. I already know.
So all right, man. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about the NFL 2025 schedule reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I started off with just some of the Week One matchups that were revealed today. Of course, we got the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles. They will be kicking off the season Thursday night football, and then the next night it'll be the Chiefs versus the Chargers in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And then we got other matchups on Sunday. A lot of rivalry matchups. You got the 49ers and the Seahawks. You got the Falcons and the Buccaneers, Browns, Bengals, Giants, Commanders. Um, yeah, Bears and Vikings on Monday night. Green Bay and Detroit, and then just rival game. You got Baltimore and Buffalo doing the Sunday night game. What are you taking away from this Week One matchups?
Um, Honestly, I think it's a good slate. Like, obviously, me selfishly looking at my Raiders, they got us going into New England. I was a little bit surprised. I was a little bit surprised, not surprised. I thought we would have had a home opener, but they're gonna send us to the East Coast, try to get us with this New England Patriots team that has a lot of buzz. With us going up against that defense, it should be really interesting. You know what I mean? Obviously, seeing that Chip Kelly offense with Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, the addition of Geno Smith, some of the younger cats that we got going up against that great young defense that me and you keep talking about, keep raving about. Obviously, with Drake May, some of the pieces, Stephon Diggs. So that should be an exciting matchup for me. I'm very curious. To me, it's going to kind of tell me about how the season. Obviously, it's the first game of many, but it's going to kind of tell me how we're going to start our season off. Usually we really don't do well going in the East Coast early time zone games. We really don't do well. Obviously the kickoff, we kind of already discussed about that. I think it's going to be an exciting time to, go straight into divisional games. I know it kind of gave me a feeling with some of the games that did get announced that we were going to get a lot of divisional games, but obviously it's just a couple. Obviously, I'm truly excited to see. Obviously, if we do get the Bengals and Browns, I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. We all know how the Bengals historically have slow starts, and then obviously, could this be the debut of Shedeur Sanders going up against that Bengals defense, which it looks like they're not going to have Hendrickson at this point. So that defense is going to be very putrid. So that could be a high scoring game depending on what we get. Obviously, the Ravens and the Bills game is going to be must see TV. Obviously, that's going to be a rematch of which one's that? The divisional round game that they had that the Bills was able to win. So I know the Ravens are going to be highly motivated about that. I think the Texans Rams game could be one of the best games of the weekend. I think that could be a really, really high scoring game. We actually get to see the addition of Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua and Kyra Williams on that offensive side with CJ Stroud and all the new weapons that he has. Obviously, that offensive line should be key. And then obviously we get the big one of the other big divisional matchups to end the week with the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, we expect this to be the debut of J.J. McCarthy, of him running this team. This is going to be the debut of Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears offense that is going to be one of the most dissected offenses. I think the Chicago Bears might be one of the more talked about teams this year. Obviously, with everything going on, they're one of the more hyped up teams. So overall, man, it's an exciting slate. Obviously, there's a couple snooze fests. Obviously, the Cardinals and Saints. No one's really looking forward to that. I'll say this though, I am looking forward to that Panthers Jaguars game. I think that could be paper too. Me and you. I'm a big Bryce Young guy. I really root for him, and obviously we get to see the debut of Travis Hunter in that game as well. So should be dope, man. I can't really complain about these week 1 slates, man. What got your eye right now?
I mean, of course, my Chiefs and Chargers in Brazil. We talked about it a little bit on Monday, but now that it's official, yeah, that's the game that, of course, last year, I'm intrigued to see if they fix this field. It's a soccer field, pretty much. Hey,
Yeah,
we know how those fields go when football players play
it's the
on.
same field that they played last year on, right?
Yeah. So that field got Jordan Love hurt. So I'm intrigued to see if they try to do anything to fix that. Um, Now, going into Sunday games, I'm intrigued with the Falcons and Buccaneers game. The way they kick that game, those two teams are going to be fighting for this division. Um, we're going to see how Michael Penix looks with a whole year as the starter.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to see by that time, is Kirk Cousins still on his team? Do they still keep him just as a viable backup? Because
Yeah,
I don't know where else he can go right now, and especially what the Browns did, what they did. I'm sure, Lord forbid, we don't want nobody to get hurt, but you know, injury is going to happen, and possibly Kirk Cousins can be trade bait, for whatever team that feels like they're a quarterback away or something. So that'll be something to look at. Titans and Broncos. We'll see Cam Ward, see how he looks against a pretty good defense. Probably you could probably say an elite defense. See how he does in his debut. Like you said, Buccaneers and Browns. We'll see how the Buccaneers fare. Will they finally start off the season with a win, or are they going to do what they always do and start slow? That Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers game is going to be intriguing because now we get to see this Lions team with no Ben Johnson.
yeah,
And we're going to see if this team is going to have a fall off. Was it Ben Johnson and his play calling, or is this team was just, we know it's super talented, but was he the one that was putting this offense in the right place in the right time to get it to click? So is it going to look the same? Is it going to look different? It's going to be interesting. And, even the defense is going to get better. Aaron Glenn is gone. So we'll see if the defense can take a step forward. Aiden Hutchins is going to be back from the injury. So we'll see how this team looks. In Green Bay, of course, with Jordan Love and, these receivers, they keep dropping like flies. Can they stay healthy? And this is going to be an intriguing game. It's a division game. And like you said, Baltimore and Buffalo, that's going to be a crazy game in itself. So, yeah, man, it's going to be a crazy week 1 for sure.
I see what the NFL tried to do. I think they kind of know that Aaron Rodgers is going to the Steelers, so I definitely see what they're doing with this matchup. I think they know, and then I obviously Aaron Rodgers going to New York, getting the Justin Fields matchup. You know what I mean? I think that will definitely be intriguing as well. So I'm excited, man. You know what I mean? I think the week 1 is going to get here before you know it.
Yeah, for sure. And then where you at? Is it the Sunday night? Yeah, Sunday night games. And then I wanted to take a look at the Sunday night, all the matchups on Sunday night this year. Which one, if just to take a gander, which one are you looking at that intrigues you throughout the season?
Um, Obviously, kick off week 1. They should be really good. Obviously, I'm gonna be very curious to see this Packers and Cowboys one. I think that one could be a very interesting matchup as well. Obviously, you got your guys versus the Detroit Lions. I think that's a big one as well. I think a big divisional game with the Falcons and 49ers. I think that could be a really huge one as well. I was a little disappointed my Raiders couldn't find a way to wiggle themselves in there. It just really proves to me that this team the networks really love the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Washington Commanders this year. That's what it really shows at this particular time. And then, you sprinkle in, obviously, the Bills and the Ravens are going to get some love. I still don't understand why the Cowboys get a lot of. I understand, but like, bro, we're good on the Cowboys getting a lot of like primetime games, because we all know at the end of the day this team is going to be ass. Like, I get the addition of George Pickens, adding along with CeeDee Lamb, and Dak Prescott's coming back, but I think a lot of people do not have a lot of faith in this coaching staff. I think a lot of us don't have faith in that defense. I just think it could be irrelevant by week 15. Like, who knows what the Vikings and the Cowboys are going to look like by week 15. Like, JJ McCarthy, he is going to be the starting quarterback, but we don't know if he could take this team to what Sam Darnold did last year. You know what I mean? Yeah, they have a slew of talent on that team. I think defensively I think they improved with some of the free agencies that they got, and some of the acquisitions they did during the draft. And obviously we all know what that offense can do. I think they have one of the best pairing of wide receivers with Addison and Justin Jefferson. But it's going to be a lot on JJ McCarthy's shoulders, and to put him in such a primetime position, it's going to be interesting. So I'm not mad at it. I think the Bucs and Rams game will be could be a really good one as well. I would really look forward to that. And then Thanksgiving, obviously Bengals and Ravens, like, we all know what those games are like as well. So that should be a good one as well. And then, the Broncos and Commanders one, I like that one too. So Bengals and Dolphins, they can get that out of here, bro. That's going to be a flex. That's going to be a flex, bro.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. Like you said, Lions, Chiefs. We already talked about Ravens and Bills. Falcons, Vikings could be intriguing. Texans and Chiefs, Vikings and Cowboys. I know you talked bad about the Cowboys, but it could be by week 15. We'll know everything we need to know about both teams. So
absolutely.
That team, that game could either be a wash, or one team could be good, the other team could be trash, or both of them could be trash, or both of them could be really good, and we could be talking about them fighting for the number one seed. You never know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that game could go either way. So, yeah, man. Bengals and Dolphins, you can get that out of there. It's trash right there. Both of them teams are probably going to be bad. So, and week 11, Detroit and Eagles, it should be a good one too. So,
that should be good. I don't know why. I don't know why they got Showtime Steelers on the prime time. Like, I just don't know why. Because that offense is about to be so disgusting. Like, it's not going to be pretty at all. You know what I mean? Even with Aaron Rodgers, I don't see how that game is going to be pleasant. Going up against the Chargers.
I agree with you. And then this is that game. That's not it. Is it? Yeah, here we go. And then we got the Monday night schedule. This should be, there's some matchups on here that you find intriguing. I know you got your Cowboys. I mean, you got your Raiders against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
November 17th.
Yeah, I'll be there. It's gonna be an expensive ass ticket, but I'll be there.
My Chiefs will be playing Jaguars, and then probably the more intriguing matchup will be when we play Washington. Play Jaden Daniels. That's going to be a big matchup on Monday night. Buffalo and the Falcons could be intriguing. Tampa Bay and Titans. Oh, your Chargers and your Raiders. That could be a big one too. Yeah,
a lot of doubleheaders on Monday Night Football, which is dope. I'm never mad at no doubleheaders on a Monday night. So
yeah, this Eagles in Green Bay. That's going to be a good one. Yeah, man, it's some matchups on here that's going to be pretty good. That Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels, that's going to be a good matchup. So
I just the only thing with these doubleheaders, I love them. It's just that, bro, I'm not really trying to like flip back and forth with both of these games. You know what I mean? Like, I wish they could do it a sense where we can watch one game and then go into the next one. Like, obviously, it'll have to be a situation where they got to start one of the games at like a 3:00, like start the East Coast game. Like, they'll have to have like an East Coast game and then a West Coast game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like start like the East Coast game at like a 3 or 4:00, and then you can start the West Coast at like 7:30 or whatever. And I know a lot of East Coast people hate that because, it's about 10:30, 11 o'clock. It's late for them, but it's just a situation like it just makes it tough. But Honestly, man, usually with Monday Night Football, you always see like during the schedule and release, like there'll be a couple of like snooze fest where you be like, man, no one's really trying to watch that game. But honestly, man, I'm not really upset with these. Like, obviously, you know what I mean. To kick it off, Minnesota and the Bears, I think that's going to be a really good one. Bucks, Texans, I think with the Chargers and Raiders, I think those two games could be really, really interesting games, especially with the addition of Geno Smith. You know what I mean? I think will be a lot more respectable. And then I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be definitely interested to watch Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers as well. So, and then, the Lions and Ravens, we all know that's going to be one of the top tier premier games of Monday night. Jets, Dolphins, that could be one of the ones where you might get a little like, what else is on TV type of situation. But it's earlier in the year, so the Miami Dolphins should be exciting. And then it's a divisional game. And then we got to see how that Jets team is going to go. Like, a lot of us want to be big believers in Aaron Glenn. We want to root for him and want him to succeed. So it's going to be interesting to see how he has that team going. Obviously, the Bengals and Broncos, we saw what that was like a playoff game last year, and we saw how that was. So obviously, your Chiefs. I'm very intrigued to watch the Commanders going into Kansas City. I think that's going to be a really good game. Bucks, Detroit. We all know what. That's going to be an amazing game as well. Yeah, man. Honestly, it's going to be a lot of really good games for Monday night. Obviously, it's all going to tell in due time. You know what I mean? With how the season plays out. Obviously, injuries and stuff like that can obviously change the opinion on a lot of these games. But just from right now looking at it, I think they did an amazing job for Monday night. I think they did an amazing job for Sunday night as well. So, yeah, I'm not mad at it. And obviously they always have the opportunity to flex games in and out and stuff like that. So
yeah, for sure. Let me get your opinion just on a few more things. Where you at? Yeah. Then, of course, NFL, they want their international games. Now, we already talked about Chiefs and Chargers.
yeah.
But the Vikings got two. They got it back-to-back, actually. They'll be 1 week. They'll be out in Dublin and Ireland to play the Steelers. And then they got to turn around and go to London and play the Browns. The Broncos, they play the Jets. The Rams play the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Falcons, they play the Colts, and then the Washington Commanders will play the Dolphins in Madrid, Falcons, Colts in Berlin, LA, Jags, and both in London. So, what's your thoughts?
Obviously, with these international games, they're not the most like sought after, like games that people want to watch. Like, but I don't think they did too bad of a job. Like, obviously, you know what I mean? Like the Minnesota and Cleveland game, to me, it all just depends if Shedeur Sanders is playing. Like that's the only reason that game will be intriguing to me. I think the Rams and Jaguars could be intriguing, just depending on how the situation goes with the Jags. I think it's all dependent on the Jags, and it's all dependent on if Matthew Stafford can stay healthy, because there's going to be a period of time where he could potentially miss a game. And then obviously the best game out of all of them could be the Falcons and the Colts. Anthony Richardson, like if he decides that he wants to show up and actually be a real quarterback and actually contribute to this team, I think that could be one of the better games. I'm also intrigued to see which out of all these cities is going to have the most active fan base. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I know there's been a lot of comparisons, and I think it kind of started with, the WWE and how everybody kind of took when they went overseas before WrestleMania and stuff. And I think, where were they at? They were in where were they at? Like Germany or something like that. What was the crowd where John Cena first appeared?
It was like the UK.
Yeah, like somewhere in the UK, and that crowd was amazing. You know what I mean? And we see the crowds and how they act in at soccer games and stuff like that. I want to know which one of these cities is going to give us that kind of environment. You know what I mean? Because obviously, you know, this is a test for the NFL to potentially move a franchise to, you know, across seas. I know that's been talked about a lot, i.e. the Jags maybe potentially moving to London. I know a lot of NFL true diehard fans wouldn't want to see that. They don't know how the logistics would work, but the NFL is trying to poke at that. And I think this is a test for all these cities to see which one of them could potentially get a franchise. So I'm gonna be curious about that as well. But overall, man, it's not bad. Are any of these games I need to wake up for? Probably not. Like if I'm up, I'll watch it. But if I'm not, it is what it is. I'll just check the highlights. You know, unless if I have somebody in fantasy going on in one of these games. So
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. All right. Just a few more. I just want to get y'all opinions.
yeah, I didn't even see the Thanksgiving or Christmas Day games. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm about to pull them up right now. That's the Christmas. What's it? Thanksgiving. That's Christmas. So. Oh, there it is. All right, here's the Thanksgiving slate. You got the Packers at the Lions. You got Chiefs and Cowboys, and then you got the Bengals at the Ravens. What are your thoughts on the Thanksgiving schedule?
Amazing. Like this is what we want. You know what I mean? Green Bay, Detroit. We all know what that rivalry is. Kansas City and Dallas. Like, look. It obviously it all depends on Dallas. Now, if Dak Prescott and all these guys can stay healthy, I think that could be a really entertaining game. We all know that could be a high-end offense. You know, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, Kansas City going to Dallas. I saw you tweeting that maybe you potentially could go to Dallas for Thanksgiving. I think that would be a dope game to go to. And then obviously Bengals and Ravens, man. That's one of the better rivalries going on right now. You know what I mean? And that excitement going on between Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins going up against that defense, man. That's a solid 3. I ain't no one's mad at that. So Thanksgiving, we got something to look forward to while we're eating our turkey, our yams, our mac and cheese and stuff like that. And hopefully we won't be too tired going into that late game with the Bengals Ravens.
I might be a little, depending on how the game before that goes. I might.
Facts.
I might be like, man, forget football. I don't watch it.
Yeah. It's dope though. I love it.
No, it is a good slate. You got 2 rivalry games with the Green Bay, Detroit, and Bengals and Ravens, and then you got a good old fashioned just Kansas City, Dallas game.
2 premier franchises going on right now. So.
Yeah, and then you have Patrick Mahomes returning to Texas. He's gonna have a whole bunch of family out there, and so it's gonna be a crazy game. It's definitely gonna be crazy.
Is this when was the last time they played Dallas? Is this the first time they played them in like 5-6 years?
I think we played them 2021.
Is this his first time playing in Dallas? I don't remember ever seeing him.
This is the only stadium he's never played in.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of Kansas City Chiefs fans will be out there for sure.
Yeah, it's his first year playing in Dallas, so
that's dope.
Yeah. All right, and then one more. Let me just get your opinion on these Christmas Day slates. Where is? No. There it is. And then on Christmas, you have Cowboys versus the Washington Commanders on Netflix. You got the Lions and Vikings Netflix, also 4:30 game, and then you got Broncos and Chiefs 8:15. That's the night game. So, what are your thoughts?
Obviously, the last year's slate were ass. Those games were terrible. They got to compete with the NBA. I think the NBA totally killed it. I get it. People are always going to say the ratings dominated. Yeah, the NFL will always dominate the ratings, but I'm just talking about the actual games. I think the NBA totally dominated that day. But I think it's a smart move. You know what I mean? On Christmas Day, I know they want to kind of try to conquer that away from the NBA. And then what better way than to do it with some divisional rival games? You know what I mean? We always know that most of the time with divisional rival games, they're going to be really good games. They're going to be really competitive. At this time of year, playoff seeding and playoff positioning is going to be very, very important, especially in these divisional playoffs. So these are all going to be must-see watch games, and I believe they're all going to be close. But hey, man, I'm not going to be one of these guys who's upset about the NFL trying to be on competing with the NBA. I love it because at the end of the day, I got my NFL games to my left, I got my NBA games to my right. You know, I mean, it's going to be a great day. So many sporting events going on. Hey man, I'm not mad at it, and I love this schedule, and I'm not mad at them going the divisional rival route because you know I said it's going to be really important games going on for positioning. So.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, what do we do for Thanksgiving? We gather around with the family and talk trash and, do whatever we do.
Yeah.
But we also sit and watch football and get tired of watching these bad football games on Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Yeah.
So why not have some good games? And thank you, NFL, for not making teams do the little 3 games in 10-day crap that y'all
they
did.
fixed that. They fixed that. All right.
Yeah, last year, you know what I'm saying? Last year, I was already mad that my Chiefs had a week 6 bye. This year we got week 10. Thank you. I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? So
I would assume all these teams would have like a late bye, I would assume.
I think so. So it's like I'm glad y'all did away with that experiment. You found out, hey man, we can't raid all these guys down like that. So these all should be pretty decent games. You know what I'm saying? So and there all could be playoff seeding, division seeding. Who win the division? All these games will have those implications in this possibly. So
yeah,
cannot complain. But yeah, man, I'm excited for the season. You know what I'm saying?
Are there any games that you are circling that you are thinking about going to?
I was thinking about going to Dallas, but I don't know now. I'm definitely going to the home game against Detroit. Yeah,
when's that one? When's that one?
October 12th.
October 12th. Okay, no, I'll be fire.
So week six. So
yeah, I'll definitely be at the Cowboy game Monday night. Depending if Shadour's starting, I might go to that Browns game, and then we'll see about Philly. I was talking to Flanagan earlier today, man. He that cold weather might change. That cold weather might be a nah, because it's so late, man. But
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna check out more games though for sure.
And I hate this year that we play y'all here late at the last game of the season. So that might might not even matter.
Yeah, it might not even matter. I think we play y'all earlier in the year. I think we play y'all like in
week 7. You play
so
week 7.
that might be another game I might consider. Because I would love to check out Kansas City and just check out that atmosphere with a rivalry game. And I would assume it wouldn't be too cold out there around that time. Might still be some good weather. So I think that might be a consideration. So they always they don't want y'all to come out here, man, too early, bro. I don't know why they do that. They always have y'all come out here later in the year. Like, nah, we don't put too much pressure on these guys. You know what I'm saying? It's trash. It's trash, bro. One of these days, man, hopefully one of these days, man, we can do like a Chiefs Raiders like kickoff, like like week 1. I would want that. I want a week 1 Kansas City Raiders, Kansas City and Raiders matchup. So maybe one day. Maybe when we win the Super Bowl, host y'all for a Super Bowl on Thursday or something.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be mad at that. No. All right, man. Let's go into the NBA playoffs, man.
Yeah.
Teams have gotten eliminated. Let's start with the Eastern Conference. The Indiana Pacers eliminated the Cleveland Cavaliers. They end up closing it out. Game 5, Pacers won 114-105. Tyrese Halliburton scored 31 points, leading Indiana to a comeback victory and a 4-1 series win.
Yeah.
All the talk is about Donovan Mitchell not making it out of the second round. I just wanted to play this soundbite of Donovan Mitchell after the game.
Last year, talked about the core 4 and keeping this unit together. There was a lot of questions, and you guys stayed confident in it. Is that something you would go to bat for, just keeping this team as a whole?
I go to bat for every guy in that locker room. Like, willing to die out there for those guys. We are for each other. I mean, we get so... Like, winning is not easy. Some things have to go right, so you got to play well. You know, you got to capitalize on opportunities. Like, you know, I'm obviously, you know, you look at around the league, like it's just, you know, you got to capitalize. And we have a window with this group. I believe in everybody in here. We believe in each other. And that's what sucks, man. It's just, we're a good team. And for 4 games, 3 games, we didn't show, you know, what we're capable of. And ultimately, that's what we're judged on. So, get in the gym, weight room, nutrition, whatever the hell it is, and get back at it, because y'all gonna write us the fuck off, man. But we'll be back. And we let City down, let each other down. We'll be back. Thank you.
So, what's your initial thoughts on the whole series, and what's your thought on Donovan Mitchell, what he said?
Yeah, congratulations to the Indiana Pacers. You know what I mean? Congratulations to Tyrese Halliburton. You know what I mean? I know there's been a lot of conversations about him being voted most overrated player in the league. I think he shut a lot of people up. Well deserved. This Indiana Pacers team has played outstanding, played some of the best basketball. I think this team is running on all cylinders right now, compared to any team going on in the playoffs right now. I think they're playing the best ball. Tyrese Halliburton could be considered MVP of the playoffs so far. As far as like with the Cleveland Cavaliers and Donovan Mitchell, like I think Donovan Mitchell played a hell of a series. You know what I mean? But at the same time, with Donovan Mitchell, his teams are mentally weak to me sometimes. It may not be him per se, but for some reason they just don't have the mental fortitude to get over the hump. You know, I've kind of questioned kind of like their mental toughness. Like I hate to talk about people and their injuries, but it gets a time where it's just like, you know, either you're injured or you're just kind of dealing with pain tolerance. And we saw that with Darius Garland. We saw that with Evan Mobley. We saw that with DeAndre Hunter, where, you know, you sit out in the likes of Darius Garland, you sit out almost 2 weeks. You see your team down 0-1 in your first game. You still decide not to play game 2, but then you can play game 3, you can play game 4, you can play game 5. It makes no sense to me. You should have been able to try to play game 1, even if it's just given 15 minutes. Like at the end of the day, these are the playoffs, man. And I'm not going to be that. I hate to do it, but it's just the reality of the situation, man. Like you got to go up there. You got to go out there and try. I think Danny Green kind of said it in the same time, man. If it's just a pain tolerance type of thing, go out there and give it a shot. No one's going to be mad at you if you go out there for 10, 15 minutes. And if your toe hurts that bad and you can't go, at least you be like, I gave it a shot because I went out there for my team and I gave it all that I had. And I just didn't want to see us. I did not want to go out there and not try. And that's what happened to this team. This team was just too good to be dominated by the Indiana Pacers. I get the Indiana Pacers are playing really great ball, but this Cleveland Cavaliers team shouldn't have been dominated like that. Especially, I think it was game 4 where they lost by goddamn 40 points. I think that was an embarrassment right there in itself. You know what I mean? You cut it to 2-1, and in game 4 you lay one of the biggest eggs I've seen from a number 1 seed trying to tie up a series. Like it's insane to me. So yeah, a lot of people are going to write off Donovan Mitchell teams, as they should. Like no Donovan Mitchell team has proven they can get past the second round. And I hate to say that about Donovan Mitchell because I really love him as a player. I think he's a great player. And he didn't even have a bad series. He was playing on a bum ankle and he still got over 30 points his last game. So it's really not his fault, but it's going to come with him because he's the superstar of the team. He's the leader of this team. And they're going to have to figure out. If me personally, if I was running this Cleveland Cavaliers team, I would strongly consider trading Darius Garland. I think you need to try to trade him to get some more pieces to this team. I just don't think you can count on him. That's just me personally. But, you know, they'll bounce back. You know what I mean? I think they'll be a top seed, especially with everything going on with the Celtics. And I know we're going to talk about that and that situation with Jason Tatum. So they should be one of the favorites in the East next year too. You know, even if they they stand pat, they should still be one of the best teams going into next year in the East. They'll probably be the favorites going into the East, depending on the situation with the Knicks and the Pacers, what happens to Giannis and so forth and so forth. But it just is what it is, man. They're gonna have to figure out Kenny Atkinson and this team and Donovan Mitchell. They're gonna have to put their heads together and figure out how they need to get over the hump, because this has been a consistent thing with Donovan Mitchell and his teams with the Utah Jazz and now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. There's no excuses for them anymore, especially going into next year with the Celtics going through what they're going through. So figure it out. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Um, go to the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks. We'll first talk about game four. The Knicks end up pulling it out 121 to 113. Jalen Brunson had 39 points, 12 assists. And they overcome the 11-point halftime deficit to go up 3-1 in the series. This is the game that Jason Tatum unfortunately tore his Achilles. He had surgery actually the next day. They announced it late, but he ended up getting surgery. I think they just played tonight, right?
They played tonight, yeah, and Celtics
Uh,
dominated tonight.
yeah, the Celtics dominated the Knicks 127-102, facing elimination. The Celtics responded with a dominant performance at home, narrowing the series deficit to 3-2. Um, that makes it to where I think the Celtics are 9-2 without Jason Tatum
Yeah,
in the
9-2.
lineup.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
No ill effects without Jason Tatum. They're still a formidable opponent. What's your thoughts on this series? Do you think the Knicks have a chance to close it out, or you think they could?
Well, I'll first off by saying, prayers out to Jason Tatum.
Of
Sucks.
course.
Like, I mean, I'm not a Celtics fan. I talk my mess about Jason Tatum, but at the end of the day, no one wants to see any star player get hurt like that at all. You know what I mean? It's even with me cheering for the Knicks, it was really deflating seeing Jason Tatum get hurt like that. He's such a great young talent. No one wants to see that. So I do wish him a speedy recovery, man. Hopefully mentally he's doing well and stuff like that. I know physically he'll be fine, but mentally hopefully he's doing well. But for the Knicks, man, they better stop playing with their food. They better stop playing with their food. There's a lot of pressure on them in game 6. And they were playing really well in the first half. And I know a lot of people have been talking about, the NBA ref situation. I talked about it. You know what I mean? I think it was a little sus, and, how quick they were with that whistle in that third quarter, and how quick that the Celtics got to the bonus. I think they were in the bonus with 9 minutes left. But at the end of the day, the Celtics performed really well at home. I think this puts a lot of pressure on the Knicks. You don't not want to go back to Boston in Game 7 because the expectation is for you to win this series. Jalen Brunson just looked out of sorts. Josh Hart played a really good game, but overall, Karl Anthony Towns was doing dumb shit again. Making unnecessary foul calls, getting in foul trouble again. Again, stop playing with your food. You better take care of business, because if the Knicks lose this series, it's going to be really, really disappointing to Knicks fans. You know what I mean? A lot of expectation for them is to move on to the next round. So stop playing with your food, man. But they should close out next game. I expect them to win Game 6.
For sure. Let's talk about the Western Conference. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Golden State Warriors. Minnesota end up closing it out. Game 5, Timberwolves 197 to 85. Minnesota closed out the series with a strong defensive performance, advancing to the Western Conference Finals. We all know that Steph Curry was out, so this was a result of that. What are your thoughts on this series?
Great game by Julius Randle. He played an amazing game, 13 for 18, 19 points. He definitely uplifted being that second scorer to Anthony Edwards. This team is deep, man. If this team can just consistently just stay in the moment in the game, this team can easily make it to the NBA Finals. Obviously, we're waiting for the Nuggets and Thunder series to wrap up, but amazing series. I thought Jonathan Kuminga of the Golden State Warriors played a really good game. I think Podziemski played a really good game. Their young guys played a really good game. Disappointing from Jimmy Butler. I think this whole series has just been really, really disappointing. The whole reason for them to trade you to the Warriors and for you to be there was for you to uplift this team in situations where Steph Curry was either having a bad shooting night or he couldn't play. And we just never got the Jimmy Butler from the Miami Heat that we expected to see. And that's really disappointing. They did give him that contract. He is getting older, man. I don't know if he just doesn't have it anymore. I don't know if maybe that fall was still, hampering him and him being able to move and get to the spots where he wanted to get to. But it's a lost season. And I know a lot of that comes down to Steph Curry and his hamstring problems and stuff like that. But, this team is getting older, man. I think Steve Kerr needs to start putting a little bit more faith in Kuminga. If not, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to trade him. His stock is going up, so maybe they can consider trading him, for whatever pieces that they may want, because I know Steve Kerr likes veteran players. But It is what it is. Congratulations to the Timberwolves, man. Excited to see them in the next round, and you know what I mean. So should be good.
For sure. Speaking of Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets, Game 5, the Thunder ended up pulling it out 112-105. Shea Gill led the Oklahoma City Thunder with 31 points, giving the Thunder a 3-2 series lead. What is your thoughts on this, sir?
Nikola Jokic is a Hall of Famer. That boy was nasty, man. 44-15. Shea, he showed why he was the MVP. We finally got the true matchup we've been waiting to see this whole series, with the MVPs going back and forth, point for point. It was an amazing game. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to Game 7. I know they play in Denver tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised either way, whether the Thunder win it or if the Nuggets were to make it to Game 7. So enjoy this series, man, because this has been one of the better series. I know it's been ugly at times, but the way they're ending this series is ending on a high note. I think we got to watch out, though. If the Nuggets can get this win, they will get an extra day as rest, and I think that will help Jokic, so that could be something to look out after. But amazing series, man. Amazing series.
For sure, and that does it for NBA playoff recap. We will be right back after this commercial break.
Introduce yourself to Magnet, the ultimate sports drink. Are you ready to take your performance to the next level? Do you want a sports drink that eliminates the muscle cramps and fatigue when working out or training? Meet Magnet, the sports drink designed for athletes who refuse to settle for mediocrity. Its power-packed electrolytes and rehydrates and restores balance with their scientifically formulated blend with magnesium that fights fatigue and boosts endurance. It has natural ingredients made with real fruit extracts and no artificial colors or flavors, because your body deserves the best. It has delicious flavors like mixed fruit and watermelon that keep you revitalized and ready for action. It will boost your performance with essential vitamins and minerals. Magnet fuels your workouts, helping you crush your goals. Join the Magnet movement, whether you're training, competing, or simply staying active. Magnet is your go-to refreshment for peak performance. You can order it now on our direct link at drinkmagnet.com. Also, use promo code Cris and Mal to get $5 off your purchase. So don't wait. Again, that promo code is Cris and Mal to get $5 off your purchase. Get Magnet, push your limits, fuel your passion.
Shout out to Drink Magnet.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Let's talk about Canelo and Crawford. Pull this up. Okay. Give me a second. Just had it. In a nutshell, the date has changed for the fight. It was originally for September 12th. They moved it to September 13th. Now the site has changed. It's no longer being rumored to be at Allegiant Stadium. Now Las Vegas is still in the running. Las Vegas, New York, and LA are in the running to host a fight. There is conflict with this because UFC 320, I think, is supposed to run on that day. The reason why I don't know the reason why he moved it to Saturday. We talking about Turkish Al-Sheikh. We don't know why he moved it. Maybe he just wanted boxing on Saturday. But there is a conflict because he has a business partnership with Dana White, and Dana White is over UFC, so it's going to be a conflict of interest. And also the Rebels are playing Idaho State, so they couldn't have it at Allegiant Stadium on that day. So there is some issues there. I know the Turk came out and said he will have an announcement of the date and site soon. But what's your thoughts on this, man? Also, it's no longer going to be on Netflix. It will be on Rider Season pay-per-view.
A lot of disappointing news, I would say, honestly. It's something we all wanted to hear. It seemed like when this fight first got announced, and we're hearing the Netflix, and then we heard the date. I know Friday is a little weird, but I kind of had a sense it had something to do with either the Raiders scheduling or the UNLV Rebel scheduling. Obviously, those are going to take priority. But I was really excited for it to be on Netflix. Obviously, hopefully, I don't expect it to be like $100 pay-per-view. I still expect Turk Al-Sheikh to do like maybe like a $25, 30, or maybe even $50 one, which is cool. It's fine. I'm not going to really trip about it. But I just thought it would have been a great thing for boxing if it could have been on Netflix, because of just how many eyes of people who aren't like particularly into boxing that could potentially view this fight for free. Just with the subscription that they would have with Netflix, I thought that would have been amazing for boxing, especially for this ultimate fight that we are about to see. So that is really disappointing. It's also interesting I'm very curious to know why he decided to move it from Friday to Saturday, knowing that UFC has its event on that date. I'm curious to know what Dana White thinks about this, knowing Dana White. I don't know him personally, but just knowing some of the shit that I've seen from Dana White, I'm pretty sure he's not too happy about that situation. Unless they're trying to do a collaboration on a thing, which that would make no sense to me at all either. So I don't know. It's interesting. At the end of the day, Turk Al-Sheikh is going to do what he wants. Hopefully it's still out here in Vegas, because I think this fight is a Vegas fight. I think just with the excitement of it, I think this is meant to be in Vegas. I don't think this is meant to be in Dallas or New York or LA. I'm sorry, it just doesn't fit it. It fits a Vegas vibe to me. So hopefully they can figure it out with Vegas. Maybe they can do something that like maybe at making an outside event or something. Maybe create like a stadium. Maybe in that empty lot where the baseball stadium is going to go, maybe they could build like a pop-up style stadium or something like that, where they could do the fight right there or something like that. I think that'd be a dope spot right there. Or I can even see him maybe doing some ignorant stuff, maybe close down the strip. I can see that too. Low key, I wouldn't be surprised about that. You know what I mean, with him doing the whole Times Square thing. But hopefully we hear some soon. Hopefully we start hearing about some of the fights that are being added to this. Hopefully we get the date and all that situated so we can actually get this going. So that's kind of my thoughts. A little disappointing, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. When I heard this news, it kind of put a little bit of doubt in me, like, oh man, is it gonna get canceled? Is it they're gonna get rid of this fight? They're gonna push it back to a later date? Like, we'll see. But hopefully it gets all figured out. He obviously wanted this fight to be on Saturday, because I think that if he had kept the same date, I don't think this would be an issue. It would have still been an Allegiant, but I just think Turkish Al-Sheikh, and I think probably some of the people that are investors with him were probably like, "No, we need to have this fight on Saturday."
Then just push it back a week. Just push it back a week and have it at Allegiant, because there's nothing going on Allegiant the following week. The Raiders are on. I think they're out of. I forgot where. I think they're going to Washington that week, and then I think UNLV's going out of town too. So unless if there's like a concert that I don't know about,
maybe
they can figure out. They can push it back a week, because at the end of the day, it's just a week. Like, that's not going to really affect the fighters anyway. So
they want Canelo Mexican Independence Day. That's what
I hear you, but come on, man, don't. It's just. I don't know. It is what it is. Just give me the fight. Hopefully it's out here, but just give me the fight regardless.
Yeah, I hear you. We're gonna watch it regardless. So
yeah, for sure.
All right, man. The NBA lottery happened a couple days ago, y'all. And we all knew the Washington Wizards. We all know the Utah Jazz. We were expecting one of those teams to possibly get the number one pick overall. Well, that didn't happen. The Dallas Mavericks end up getting the number one overall pick. They had a 1.8 chance of getting the number one overall pick. Now, we all know the story of the Mavs. They traded away Luka to Mall's Lakers. Nico Harrison was looked at as a dumbass. And now he looks like a genius.
Man.
But Dallas Mavericks end up getting the one pick, the first overall pick. San Antonio Spurs get the second overall pick. Philadelphia Eagles get the third pick. Charlotte Hornets got the 4th pick. Utah Jazz got the 5th pick. Washington Wizards got the 6th. Pelicans get the 7th. Brooklyn Nets get the 8th. Toronto gets the 9th. And Houston Rockets get the 10th via Phoenix. What are your thoughts, sir? Do you think this was rigged? Do you think they need to change the system?
I don't think they need to change the system, but it's highly convenient that every time a goddamn team trades their star player to the Lakers, they get awarded the goddamn #1 pick. So you know what? Tonight, I'm going to protest that the Milwaukee Bucks trade Giannis Antetokounmpo to the goddamn Lakers, because you know what? You will be gifted a first-round pick next year. I invite all NBA teams to trade me all your superstar talent, because you know what? The NBA will find a way to get you the #1 pick in the draft. Like, this shit is insanity, bro. Like, get, excuse my language, but get the fuck out of here, bro. Really? This man literally did the most dumbest trade in NBA history. Yes, my team did benefit off this shit, but you did the dumbest trade in NBA history. You didn't even try to get all the assets you could get, and you are gifted the #1 pick in this draft. It's not even like it's a bullshit draft where it's like, all right, like it's like whatever. No one's really tripping about any players. You can have them. Like if it was like an Anthony Bennett type of draft or something like that, I'd be like, all right, it is what it is. No one's tripping. But you get the Cooper Flag draft out of all players. So now you're going to add Cooper Flag to Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving when he gets back healthy, Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively. One of those two guys, or PJ Washington, one of those guys is going to get traded for sure, or maybe even two of them are going to get traded because they got too many forwards. It's just ridiculous, man. The Dallas Mavericks didn't deserve this. They didn't deserve this. Their ownership didn't deserve this. Nico Harrison didn't deserve this. But at the end of the day, the NBA gave him something, and he better swing it off the park. Also, I think the San Antonio Spurs just pretty much got themselves Giannis Antetokounmpo. Me personally, like obviously, I have been seeing reports that the Spurs aren't considering trading that second overall pick. That they're strongly considering taking Dylan Harper, which it also kind of makes sense as well because this team is really young. They haven't went through any kind of playoff adversity at all. They still got to kind of go through that. So it's kind of a balance where it's like, do you want to go all in for Giannis Antetokounmpo and become title contenders right away and pair up that dynamic, the next Twin Tower 2.0 with Giannis and Wemby, because that will be one of the most scariest defensive teams that we've ever seen in the league with just all that length? Or do you get Dylan Harper, who is comp to like maybe like a Cade Cunningham, and you add him with a De'Aaron Fox and a Victor Wembanyama, and they grow together, and they could be like the new Oklahoma City Thunder? You could do that too. I think either way, I think the fan base is going to be happy either way. But I would just keep my eyes close on that situation with Victor Wembanyama and then potentially train that pick. Philadelphia 76ers, I think they also got a care package as well, being 3rd overall. Obviously, with the whole situation with Joel Embiid and that knee, them adding talent, I think they're mocked to get Ace Bailey, I believe, the kid from Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
A nice scoring wing, about 6'9", with a 7-foot wingspan. I love his game. I think he could be really, really solid as well. You add him, pair him with Tyrese Maxey, and you could get a healthy Joel Embiid. I think you could get something there. Obviously, with him being a rookie, the timetable is off, so they're going to kind of have to make that. I think that might give them a decision whether maybe they consider trading Joel Embiid and just kind of focus on Tyrese Maxey and Ace Bailey and just kind of build around them. I think that's the situation right there. Besides that, man, I think everywhere else, kind of like, I feel bad for cats like Charlotte and Washington and Toronto, teams that try to tank. But hey, man, Chicago, all you had to do was lose that game against the Lakers, bro. Hey, this could have been you. You could have had Cooper Flag, but nah, you guys decided to win a meaningless game, and you guys don't get Cooper Flag. You guys are all the way, I think, at the 12th pick. So, hey, man, congratulations. I'm not going to say congratulations to Dallas. I'm not. I refuse to say that. I just think they got a care package of biblical proportions. But hey, man, it is what it is. I understand why people think think it's rigged, even though they do have video of them doing the lotto, but it is what it is, man.
Bring the ping pong balls back.
I got a question to you though. You know what? I'll save it for random news.
All right, man. Let's talk some college football, man. Some games have been announced for week 0 and 1 for the college football season. I'm gonna pull this.
I've not seen that yet.
Yeah. So these are the slated games for week 0 and 1 that are selected. We got Iowa State versus K-State in Dublin, Ireland. You got Georgia Tech at Colorado. You got Boise State at South Florida, Syracuse at Tennessee, LSU at Clemson, Notre Dame and Miami, Nebraska at Cincinnati, which will be in Kansas City. That'll be in, of course, Arrowhead. Alabama at Florida State, Virginia Tech at South Carolina, and TCU at North Carolina. Another game that was announced was Texas versus Ohio State on Fox. So there's a slew of games that are going to happen on week 0 and 1. What are your thoughts, sir?
Obviously, I'm very curious. I'm definitely interested to see that Colorado Georgia Tech game. I think Georgia Tech always plays really well, especially to kick off the season. We saw that last year. Obviously, I'm excited to see what Dion does without his son, without Travis Hunter. I'm excited to see what that team looks like. His 3rd year at Colorado, how much depth he's added to it, how far along that program has come. So I'm pretty excited. Obviously, they haven't done the rankings yet. We'll get there, I think, like in August or something like that. So, Syracuse and Tennessee, I'm surprised Syracuse got this spot. I don't know what the hype level is with this team. I know they lost Kyle McCord. Maybe they might have like a quarterback that's coming in that's pretty high in talent. Maybe they have a nice squad. I'm not really too familiar. Obviously, with Tennessee, the big thing is Nico leaving. Seeing how that situation plays out with the quarterbacks that they have on their roster. So that should be interesting. LSU and Clemson, I think that's going to be a big time game. I think those are 2 national championship contenders that potentially could have one loss going into week 2. Notre Dame, I know there's a lot of uprise in that team and confidence that they can make another playoff run, get to the playoffs. Miami coming off that strong year but losing Cam Ward, so that should be interesting. Obviously, they did get Carson Beck, so we got to see how he performs. Alabama, Florida State. Obviously, Florida State was terrible last year. They were highly ranked going into the year last year. I'm very curious to see how they bounce back. And, unfortunately, their first game is against Alabama, so that's going to be a tough one. Nebraska, we got to see the Patrick Mahomes 2.0 guy, see how he improves.
Oh, he's coming out again. He's gonna be coming in Arrowhead, boy.
Yeah, boy. That boy about to get Patrick Mahomes' locker. He about to do the Patrick Mahomes walk-in. He about to do the warm-up, everything, man. It's gonna be fucking sick to watch, but it is what it is at that point. I think that could be a high-scoring game, though. I think Cincinnati's offense is pretty dominant going along with Nebraska. There's gonna be a lot of hype on that kid. So that should be interesting. And then obviously, watching Bill Belichick in his debut against TCU. Obviously, that's definitely going to be interesting. Big question is his girlfriend going to have a headset or not? Is she going to call plays or not? Like, what is she going to bring to the table as far as like this coaching staff? Because she's going to do something. She's going to be on the sideline doing something. So that should be interesting. So, but I'm looking forward to it, man. I said, man, August is going to come really, really quick, man. So I'm excited football's here. It's getting close, but I'm not mad at it. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I'm intrigued by a lot of these games, man. Of course, the K-State, Iowa State, that's going to be a pretty good game. LSU and Clemson. You got Nuss versus Clemson. Cade Kubek. That's going to be a good matchup right there. Notre Dame and Miami will see Carson Beck in U uniform, and Notre Dame life without Riley Leonard. I know Love. What's his name? Jeremiah Love. He's going to be the talk of the Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
Alabama life without Milroy. We'll see how that looks. Florida State. Have they added any talent at the quarterback position? Then you have Virginia Tech and South Carolina. Can Lenore Sellers, does he take that next step forward? And then TCU and like you said, Carolina, Bill Belichick is going to be the talk of that game if he makes it there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, man, it's an intriguing week of football. And then of course Texas and Ohio State. That's going to be an interesting game. Arch Manning, and whoever's the quarterback at Ohio State, can he do what he did? You know, can they duplicate what they did without Will Howard? So
yeah.
All right, man. Let's do our BetUS Surefire Picks, man.
Let's do it.
All right, man. What you got?
All right, man. So I got a quick little 3-pack. So I'm gonna take the Nuggets +5 over the against the Thunder. Even if the Thunder do win, I think that game's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be close. I think the Nuggets will cover that +5. So I do really like that. In hockey, I got the Carolina Hurricanes. I got them money line over the Capitals. I think they'll win that game. And then I'm going to take the Dallas Stars +1.5 over the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, I'm with you on Oklahoma. I'm taking the -5 on that too. And I'm going to roll with the Knicks and take the -2.5. Had them close out the series over the Celtics. All right, people, if you look at our screen, so you see the QR code to the BetUS website. You scan that, put in your information. It's only for first-time users only. You put in the promo code JOIN125. You get 125% sign-in bonus plus 10% gambler's insurance. That means you get 3 risk-free bets on your first 3 deposits on $100 up to $5,000. So on your first 3 deposits, if you bet and you lose, you keep your money. So you can win some money or you can keep your money on your first 3 deposits. So go to BetUS, sign up, and tell them Cris Style Mal sent you. And that does it to our BetUS Surefire Picks, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I don't know if you listened to it, but did you watch the freestyle with Big Sean, Absol, and Joey Badass?
I watched it. I watched like a clip. I saw Big Sean going off. I saw Absol. I saw a little bit of Joey Badass. It was fire. We haven't really got a lot of these as of late. You know what I mean? I know back in the day when they used to have like the BET Hip Hop Awards, we would always get those cipher circles and stuff like that. That were really important to hip hop. But no, this one came out of nowhere. I mean, these 3 guys, you wouldn't kind of put these guys together in a sense. We know what Joey Badass, we know what Absol, even Big Sean. I know Big Sean gets a lot of hate sometimes as far as like the quality of music that he drops, but he can flow, man. And I think all 3 of them did an amazing job. I personally like Absol the best. I like Absol and Joey Badass the best. But I think Big Sean did his thing, man. He held his own for sure. So I'm not mad at it, man. I got to watch the whole thing. I said I only watched a little bits of clips here and there, but I think Absol really did his thing on that.
I watched the whole thing. I think Big Sean had a fire intro. The way he did his thing, he kind of threw Absol off a little bit at the end when he said his wife said he was going.
I saw that little part.
He was going to kill him in the freestyle. And Absol was like, "Man, I told you that in confidence." But then I like Absol getting him back at the end. And then I like his conversation with Joey Badass, saying like, "You kind of put me in a bad predicament with the Rayvon and Daylight situation, but it's still all love." Then Joey turning around, double down on the Daylight disrespect and a little bit of Rayvon. Rayvon put out a shot today, but it was dope overall. You could tell it was just friendly competition, all 3 of them, man, and they were just in there just rapping, man. And we haven't had that in a long time, man. We haven't seen nothing like that in a long time. So shout out to those brothers, man. It was a dope setting.
Let me ask you a question. If you can get 3 guys to do a cipher together, what three guys would you love to see get together and do a cipher like that?
I wouldn't mind Cordier, um, Tyler the Creator, and Benny the Butcher.
Interesting. I'm shocked you said Tyler the Creator. What made you want to put Tyler the Creator on there?
Tyler can rap. Like it's never a question of him rapping. And lately he's been rapping. Like he ain't been on that bull. Like at first he was kind of on some other stuff. He was on the gimmicky, and I get it. He was trying to get in the game, whatever. But lately he been rapping. Like he been like putting the bull at BS to the side and like, no, I really do this. And so Tyler Creator, Cordy A. We all know Cordy A can spit, and then add Benny the Butcher to give you that grimy coke rap talk, you know what I'm saying? All in this 3 different styles. I'm all for that.
Do you think hip hop is taking this turn where we're going back to more of the substance rap? Like we're going more back into true hip hop than like what we picture it to be. Does it seem like we're like hip hop's heading back into that direction with some of the things we've seen, like, Kendrick, we're seeing like, Eclipse album coming out. We're seeing, you talk about Benny Butcher. We got Doechii, she's popping right now. We're getting this cipher, little things are coming out more and more. Do you think we're heading back to those days of quality hip hop?
I think it's back to having a healthy balance. I'll say that. I think that, hip hop is always known. You're supposed to have different, music in general, but in the hip hop genre, it should have every flavor. It should, you should, whatever you like. If you like the backpack rap, we used to have that. You know what I'm saying? You could pick through these artists and they give you that. If you wanted the hardcore, grimy, street raps, these set of rappers had that. If you want the flashy club bangers, these guys had that. That's how we grew up. You know what I'm saying? And we could pick, if we want to hear that, we can hear from these artists. Whereas in this generation, it's kind of blurred the lines and everybody kind of sounds the same. You know what I'm saying? Where every rap is about the same thing. And you hear one rapper and you hear them all almost. Whereas I just think that we've just gotten back to a healthy balance to where, you got your guys who rapping. And I just think the Kendrick and Drake battle kind of brought forth that a little bit. I think it's been going on before that. Like, I think Benny the Butcher, Griselda, and all them dudes, and a few other cats have already been rapping. But I think that Kendrick and them kind of put it to the forefront. Like, no, we can do this. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just a healthy balance.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Drake. I think, cats like, Absol and, what they're doing with the cipher, Doechii. I think they're putting it back on the map in a sense of like, I think it's becoming more of a commercialized favorite as far as like the type of hip hop music. You know what I mean? Like, I think that substance rap is becoming the premier commercialized radio hit play now. You know what I mean? I think we're going back to that day. I agree with you. I think we have found like a healthy balance again. It's kind of like that Kendrick and Drake battle was kind of like the bottle that needed to be popped to kind of like rebalance everything. You know what I mean? Where it was just kind of like we were losing the true waves of just having an equilibrium of hip hop. So I think it did help out a lot. I think Kendrick has helped out a lot. I think TD has helped out a lot to make what Kendrick does, what Doechii does, what, as you said, Cordier, Tyler the Creator, you said he's been spitting more. I just said, we're about to get a Eclipse album here soon. I saw Pusha T talking about that, where it's becoming like, you hear it in the commercials. We're seeing it more on mainstream where I think it's more acceptable. I think people been wanting that. You know what I mean? I know the younger cats, they're always gonna vibe with the Playboy Cardis, the Yeats, and the Ice Spices, and stuff like that. But I think to a degree, I think they're coming around too. I think they're appreciating the more substance and rap and more lyricism and stuff like that. So I think it's a great thing for hip hop, man. You know what I mean? it became a little worried that it was getting a little scarce. Hopefully we start seeing more albums though. It has been kind of quiet in music, I think, the last couple weeks, couple months, I would assume. But hopefully this Clips album comes out soon. So
yeah, for sure.
That. Or any of these guys. Hopefully any of these guys. I know Absol dropped some stuff, but hopefully, you know, Joey Badass, Big Sean, hopefully they drop some more stuff this year too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. It's time for random news.
Yep.
It is now time for Mal's random news.
All right, y'all, man. We got a couple things on the slate, man. You know, we ain't gonna keep y'all up too late, but you know, we'll get it popping. So, in some new news, Apple wants people to control their devices with their brains. Apple has a new tech intended to enable people to control their iPhones and other devices with neural signals captured by new generation brain implants. What are your thoughts? Is this something you'd be interested in? And how fast do you think this will be implemented and become the norm in society?
I don't know about this one, player.
You ain't vibing with the neurological, you know what I mean? Being like Professor X type shit. You don't want that?
Nah, man, that sounds like something. What was that movie with Keanu Reeves, Johnny Mnemonic? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be bad for all of us once females start learning how to read minds. That's gonna be bad. Yo, facts, man. That'll be crazy. In other news, Tory Lanez in his camp. You know, obviously we heard the news about Tory Lanez and him getting stabbed. I think they said he got stabbed like 14 times. He pretty much got jumped from the way it looked like. He is going to survive, you know what I mean? But they did have a press conference earlier today. They had new evidence presented for the Tory Lanez case. They did drop a petition, hopefully to get it signed so they could get Governor Newsom to pardon Tory Lanez. I don't know how successful it will be, but one of the potential new evidence presented is that Kelsey's bodyguard has reportedly come forward claiming that Kelsey was the one who shot Megan Thee Stallion and says he stayed silent to protect her until now. What are your thoughts on this situation? Do you think it's a little too late? Do you think Tory Lanez has any chance of getting out, especially with the news of him getting stabbed? It seems like more and more people are siding with Tory on this. Chris Brown even said free Tory on his Instagram. So what is your thoughts on the whole situation?
I think in the case, no matter what evidence gets brought forth, in the case of public opinion, in the court of public opinion, he's going to be guilty regardless. Mm-hmm. People don't like Tory Lanez, you know, and you know, I get it. He has the bravado. He talks a lot of trash, you know. I get it. But you know, if evidence comes forth that he didn't do it, then he should be free. Regardless, I mean, bottom line, you know, you may not like it, you may not like what he does and how his antics are, but if he did not shoot that woman and the Kelsey chick did, justice should be served.
Yeah. In other news, it was breaking that Dick's Sporting Goods is nearing a deal to acquire Foot Locker for $2.3 billion. Do you think this saves Foot Locker? Obviously, there's been a lot of noise of them losing a lot of money, potentially even closing down. Do you think this is a good thing for Foot Locker, bad thing? Do you think Dick's Sporting Goods eliminates it or kind of like implements it into their stores? Like, how do you feel about that?
It could be a good thing. You know, Dick's Sporting Goods have been around for a long time. You know, they ain't going out of business, so obviously they feel like they can take Foot Locker and build it back up to what it used to be. You know, we've been going to Foot Locker since we was kids, so if they can save the company, yeah, I think it's a good idea. You know,
yeah, man. Hopefully Foot Locker stays, man. You know, they should also potentially start thinking about bringing Blockbuster back. I think it might not be a bad idea. That's just me. But anyways, next up, Manny Pacquiao. We all know that he announced that he is coming back in July 19th. But as he returned, he has re-entered into the WBC's welterweight rankings at number 5. How do you feel about that? About Manny Pacquiao going straight to 5 on the power rankings of the welterweight?
Trash. That's what I feel. Trash. My man ain't had no tune-up. He ain't done nothing to prove that he still got it. And hell, he did an exhibition fight, I think, last year and looked horrible.
Yeah.
So, no. This is terrible. This is WBC just trying to get a cash grab. Go Manny Pacquiao's coming back. He's gonna fight Mario Barros. And Mario Barros, if you lose to Manny Pacquiao, retire.
Are you going to watch this fight?
Hell no.
Is this for free? Is this going to be like on ESPN or something? I know this ain't going to be no pay-per-view.
Nah,
There's no way this is a pay-per-view.
Hey, they might.
There's no way.
They
There's
might
no
try to
way.
get. I don't put
no
it past them. They might try to.
Nah, bro, they better not. They better not. That might be the lowest sell pay-per-view in nah, people will still buy it because it's Pacquiao. They'll still buy it. It's Pacquiao. And some fun news. Club 520 podcast. Shout out to them. Shout out to Jeff Teague and the boys out there in Indiana. I had a little conversation about some Jordans, man. Jeff Teague. He says Jordan 12s are the worst Jordans of all time. So I thought it'd be a quick question for you, man. What pair of Jordans do you think is the worst, and which pair do you think is the best?
Hold on. I gotta get the visual over here.
Yeah, go ahead, take your time.
See, the worst. Well, the best to me are probably the threes.
The threes? Okay. Okay. You think they got the best colorway, best feel, best style? Okay.
Fours ain't too bad either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the worst. I don't know, man.
Me personally, I think it's the twos. I think the twos are terrible. I'm not a fan of the twos.
You don't like the twos?
I don't like the twos. Nah.
Yeah, they are kind of ugly.
I'm not a fan. Colorway, feel. I'm not a fan. They're not comfortable to me.
Maybe the
Best,
10s.
I
don't like these 10s right here.
The 10s. I love 11s. They just feel terrible. I would say my favorites are threes. My favorites are the threes.
Yeah,
I agree with you. My favorites are the threes. I love ones. I really do love ones. They are uncomfortable, but I do love ones. They're very top tier. I think threes, ones, and fours are probably my favorites. I do love the eights. I love the eights. I'm not mad at the sevens. I love the Bordeaux sevens. One of my favorite shoes. I'm not mad at the 12s. Not mad at the 12s at all. Not mad at the 12s at all. After 11, I'm not really a fan of anything above 11. After that, I said I love stylistically what the 11s look like. I just think they're uncomfortable.
The 13s are not bad. They're just whatever.
Yeah, 13s are not bad. They're not bad. But I thought that would be fun to talk about. All right, next up. Obviously we talked about the draft, the NBA draft lottery. It's got a lot of questions. Some people think that the NFL should implement an NFL draft lottery, make it exciting. What are your thoughts on that situation? Should they implement it? And do you think it will make it more interesting as far as like how NFL teams would perform at the end? Potentially a situation where, if you guys had a down year, you guys could potentially get a number one overall pick. Do you think the NFL should implement a draft lottery system?
Yeah, I guess so, because I've never been the guy who feels like the bad team should get rewarded.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the NFL, we all know that NFL teams, even though last year half of y'all act like y'all didn't want to tank. Y'all had the 1 seed right in your hands and y'all just effed it off. Your team, Giants, like I think Jacksonville, like all y'all just was like, we want to win. Like it was like, for what?
yeah, right.
But NFL teams are clearly more likely to tank because when they put a certain quarterback in.
Yeah, for sure.
You'll know, like you'd be like, "Oh, dude, he out. He's sick, whatever, and he out for the rest of the season with an elbow, and you got some 3rd, 4th stringer we ain't never heard of." Like, yeah. So Yeah, I think they should because it'll make teams be like, all right, we gotta bear down. We can't really tank because it is what it is. We ain't guaranteed to get the number one overall pick. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't think it should be a situation like with Dallas Mavericks.
But even then, though, I'm like, let's look at the hypothetical situation. Let's say like who had a down? Let's look at the Texans, right? Everybody assume they probably had a down year compared to what we all expected them to have. Let's say they got the number one pick. It's not like they would have took any of the quarterbacks, regardless. Even if it was an arch man draft, they're not taking any of the quarterbacks. They can use it as leverage to trade back, get more assets to help that team build the old line. They could pick the best old line. They could have picked Travis Hunter. You know what I mean? And just imagine, let's say your Chiefs had a down year. You still got Patrick Mahomes, but you potentially could have got a Travis Hunter. You potentially could have got the top wide receiver. I think it will make it more interesting. I think it will make it more fun. And I think it kind of eliminate the whole sense of, teams trying to tank. Like, yeah, I think teams will still tank regardless, just like in the NBA. Teams are still going to tank because you will have a high percentage as far as like having more draft balls to be able to get the number one pick. Your chances will still be higher. But I think it'll be interesting. I think it will, like, obviously we all have high excitement levels for the draft anyway, regardless. At that moment in time, it's just kind of like, we're kind of waiting to see who's going to be the first overall pick as far as like player. But I think it'd be a cool thing. You know what I mean? You can end the year. I think by like after, the draft combine or even before the draft combine, you guys can do the draft lottery. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be a cool little situation. I think it'll be something that I don't think they'll ever do it, but I think it'd be a situation that would be cool. That's just me.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, we all know Diddy trial is currently going on. It's day 3. Miss Cassie has been on the stand for the last 2 days. She will continue tomorrow. I think she's going to get cross-examined tomorrow. Just read some of the things that she said. Obviously, she was dating Diddy for some years. She stated that some of the freak-offs lasted for longer than 4 days. I think the longest was for like 4 days. She would be the one that would go get some of the escorts. Diddy would force her to do that, force her to make sure that, they weren't police officers and stuff like that. Watch her have sex with these gentlemen, stuff like that. She's also stated that there were certain instances where, Diddy, she kind of gone into the whole, Diddy going into, the R word. I don't want to say that word, but, that whole situation. Things got pretty graphic. There were also other situations where her friend, she did call the police when Diddy did attack her, but she didn't want to come forward. She also stated that, she did receive the $20 million from Diddy. But her overall thing was that she couldn't go through with it. She wanted to, just kind of clear the air, everything that's going on with Diddy. They do have, the transcripts is long. I would suggest everybody to read it. That's just some of the things that have been going on. I don't know if you've been paying attention to it, but what are your kind of thoughts with this whole situation with Cassie and Diddy? Obviously, this trial is expected to take a couple more weeks. They still have a lot of more interviews and people that need to get questions. So, what's your kind of overall and feels about this whole situation currently right now on day 3 of the trial?
For some of the stuff that Cassie has described, it's kind of crazy, man. It's just it's bad stuff, man. And I don't know if Diddy's gonna, get out of this unscathed. I think he's gonna do some time. I do. I think that they're gonna find, unless they find a loophole, and at the end of the day, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about what you can prove under a reasonable doubt in court.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guilty people who walked away because they couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt if this guy did or she did whatever, was being charged of. So it's going to be interesting to see, what the other, people say, other witnesses say, that will possibly, man, hurt his case, might, help his case. I don't know. But yeah, I personally think he's gonna do some time.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been questioning that. To them it doesn't seem like this. Seems like it's a sex trafficking case. That it seems more like it's like a domestic violence case from what she's been talking about. I would suggest that people would read up on the Mann Act that was passed back in June 25 of 1910. I would suggest you read that. A lot of that has to do with human trafficking, prostitution. If you read upon that, then you would understand that the federal government has a strong case against it. So it doesn't look good. Obviously, there have been some graphic things. I think they even showed some still video of some of the sexual acts that have been taking place. I was over listening to some of the lawyers or some of the reporters that were able to get in the courtroom, that some of the jury members were pretty disturbed by some of the still pictures that they did see from some of the stuff. So I said it's only day 3. I'm sure we'll hear more stuff coming out tomorrow. So just keep it posted. I suggest everybody to read the transcripts. It's pretty long. Cassidy has been on the stand for 2 days now, and then I think she is going to get cross-examined tomorrow. So we'll have more information on that as the weeks go on. But hey, man, that's it for random news. We'll be back next Wednesday for the rest.
Sure. All right, man. Let's talk about Bill Belichick, man. There's a lot of drama going on with him and his girlfriend. I know a reporter has been speculating that there's possibility that Bill Belichick might not make it week 1. And that this Jordan Hudson, his girlfriend, has been causing a lot of issues with their relationship, and just a lot of some of the things that she's been doing. And I just want to get your overall thoughts. Do you think Bill Belichick makes it week 1?
He needs to get his situation in order, because the noise around him and his girlfriend is just too much, especially coming from a person of Bill Belichick's stature. We see what he was when he was with the New England Patriots. He would never allow any situation like this to kind of interfere or distract the team. And right now he's becoming the distraction to his team and to this program, just because of his relationships with his girlfriend. At the end of the day, if that's who he wants to be with and they're in love, let them be in love. But at the end of the day, does she need to have a lot of say in what he does on a day-to-day with him and his program? No, I think that's insane. I think her having any kind of business relationship with him is not really a good thing. Do I think he'll be gone? No, I think UNC is going to do as much as possible to get through this year, because of just who Bill Belichick is and how much he has brought a light to North Carolina football. Like, look, they're getting the Monday kickoff game. Yeah. You would never think North Carolina would get that. North Carolina wouldn't have gotten that if it wasn't for Bill Belichick. So North Carolina's going to do everything in their power to try to get through this season. We assume this is kind of like a 1-year thing, just the way his contract is kind of laid out. We all know that he really wants to be in the NFL, but for some reason NFL teams don't want to hire him, which I think is pretty insane. But I think that's another story for another day. But yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. But Bill Belichick does need to get his girl in check, and he needs to kind of like calm that situation down, because it is getting out of control.
Yeah, I know she wrote some type of letter on. I didn't know she was part of the cheerleading squad, but she had to step away from the cheerleading thing because of the situation between her and Bill Belichick. But I'm with you, man. I don't know. Look, I'm with you. Love who you love. I don't know if my man Bill going through a midlife crisis, or I wouldn't even call it midlife crisis because he's past midlife. But I don't know if he's going through a crisis in his life, and he's got the young chick, and he's feeling good. But like you said, this would never have happened in New England. I don't even know any of the recruits that go to UNC, because this has been so much of a distraction.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, at all. I
don't know if he has any good players. I don't know if his quarterback's good, wide receiver, defensive. I don't know if he's got any guys who are looked at as first-round picks, second-round pick, lottery, whatever. So, because this has just been the story of UNC. No football news. Nobody he's recruited. And I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to last. Somebody's going to have to get in his ear. he's gonna have to get somebody to pull him to the side and be like, "Hey, man, either you're gonna have to let this chick go, or you're gonna have to nip her in the bud. Like, put her, tell her to chill out."
How much pressure is on Bill Belichick this year?
I don't think there's any pressure because nobody was expecting anything from UNC anyway.
That's true, but it's Bill Belichick though. He
Yeah.
can't go like 1-10. He can't go 1-10.
But can he?
He can't. Because you know why I say that? Because he wants to get back in the NFL. He can't look, I know he solidified in NFL with what, as far as his stature and what he did with the New England Patriots, but there is a reason why no one wants to hire this man. I don't know what the reason is, but like you can't tell me there are 31 or 32 better coaches than Bill Belichick. You can't. Like, obviously, Andy Reid ain't going anywhere. Obviously, there's cats like Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid, the homie from the Philadelphia Eagles, and maybe a couple other ones, Sean McVay, Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh. Like, yeah, there are certain ones, but you can't tell me the New Orleans Saints couldn't have hired him. You couldn't have told me that the Jacksonville Jaguars couldn't have hired him, or the New York Jets. No offense to Aaron Glenn, but you can't tell. It's Bill Belichick, one of the most successful NFL head coaches of all time. And he were to go to North Carolina and go 1-10. Don't you think that would look bad on him?
I guess so, but at the same time, it's just like this ain't like him going to Jacksonville and he got Trevor Lawrence and he's got Brian Thomas Jr. and he's got Travis Etienne, and he's got Joshua, the defensive end, and Travion Walker. Like, they got guys over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't like him going to a team with a situation. And then I think the flip side of it is with Bill Belichick, life after Tom Brady was not great.
It wasn't. No.
The New England Patriots, outside of 1 year where they went to the playoffs with Mac Jones, they've been bad. And he has not picked, he's picked a few players, but he hasn't picked really well.
Well, that kind of goes back to the conversations that some people think that Bill Belichick's a little overrated.
And I can understand that, because now defensively, yes, he is one of the best defensive minds out there. I think that, of course there's other guys out there, but I think he's super elite at defense. And I think one of the guys that's probably on his level is Spags. You probably argue Spags. I mean, there's other guys that you could argue that are on his level as far as defensive minds, but yeah. I'm talking about right now, but yeah, I think the last few years, I think that people didn't want to give him control because they saw how he was as a GM. And I think there's a little bit to it. He's not very media savvy. And he's like not now that he's in UNC because he's with kids now. You know what I'm saying? It's different. You know what I'm saying? Where he was with grown men, and in that market, it was just like, and I think it was a little bit of an arrogance with that too. Like, I won 6 Super Bowls. I don't even really need to talk to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just kind of like that for a while. So,
do you think this could be a distraction because they did terrible in getting recruits to come play?
I don't know. Because like I said, I don't know. I would have to look it up. I would have to look up how many at least 4-star.
Hold on. Let's look it up right now. I'm gonna look up right now and see what he got real quick. Let's see. Let's see football recruits. Let's see. So their overall rank is 28.
Which is not bad.
Transfer rank is 9. They got 2 4-star recruits, 1 quarterback, 1 edge. They got 1 signed letter intent, Aturi Newark from Virginia. He's a 4-star recruit. No 5-star recruits. A lot of threes and 4s.
That's just fine.
Which is cool for his first stint. Yeah, so that's about what he got. So
Let's look up transfer portal, guys. Got a lot of, got a couple freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of tight ends.
Yeah, I see a couple of them. Yeah.
Few got a wide receiver from Florida State. Yeah, it's nobody. Like I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if these kids are gonna be any good.
Yeah, I don't know. I said being ninth ranked in the transfer portal, I think that's really good. You know what I mean? He's ahead of they're ahead of Texas A&M, they're ahead of Oklahoma, they're ahead of Nebraska, USC, Colorado, Bama, at least on the transfer portal, Ohio State. So that's saying something. You know what I mean? He must be doing something right if he's number 9 on the transfer portal. So
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Last but not least, talk about Pete Rose, man. We all know Pete Rose passed away last year. Now the I think the commission or whatever who handles the Hall of Fame eligibility thing, they have now lifted him, and it was I forgot the other guy's name, but it was another guy that they released from uneligibility to be in the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame.
mm-hmm.
So Pete Rose is able to get voted in. I know I know there's a lot of outrage about this. Now he had a lifetime ban for gambling on games while he was a manager. They got the Cincinnati Reds, I want to say. Um, so he's been his name has been tainted. And I've heard some stories about him that he's not really a good guy. But
Mm-hmm.
he's had I think he has the most hits in baseball history, and without having a plaque or anything in Cooperstown, they said that there is a section in there with Pete Rose's stuff in there. Like he has a whole section. He may not be in Cooperstown as a Hall of Famer, but they pretty much have a wing for him.
Yeah.
Do you think Pete Rose should get in? Or do you think that they should stand pat and not let him in?
I number one, I think it's a disgrace they waited this long to even do this situation. Like he should have been in the Hall of Fame, bro. He should have been in the Hall of Fame, bro. I understand the situation that he was in, but at this moment in time, Major League Baseball is in bed with gambling right now as we speak. You know what I mean? Like they're a part of the whole situation. What's going on? I know times have changed. You know what I mean? I know it's become more acceptable and stuff like that. It sucks to see that this happened when after he passed. I think he should get into the Hall of Fame, though. I think he should have gotten to the Hall of Fame a long time ago, just like I think Barry Bonds deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I think he should. You know what I mean? If you walk into Cooperstown and you go into the Baseball Hall of Fame, I believe they do have some stuff that's up with Pete Rose and all the records that he broke. So yeah, why not? You know what I mean? If you're promoting him and you're making money off of him, yeah, I don't see why he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, man. He deserves it. He's one of the greats of all time. It just sucks that he couldn't be alive to see himself get put in. So
I don't know. Because the allegations towards him, he was in bed with some criminal type people when he was betting. And I get that betting is illegal, now, and the MLB is in bed. All sports are in bed with betting apps and all these betting companies now. But at the time, it was illegal. You know what I'm saying? It was an illegal thing to do. He knew what he was doing, and he shouldn't have been doing it in the first place. And I know we ain't supposed to be all acting all holier than thou, but they put rules in place for certain situations. Now, as a player, yes, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. He was one of the greatest baseball players to ever play the game. We're not denying that at all. And when he got caught, he wasn't even a player. He was he wasn't a player. He was a manager. So personally, I would put him in, and I'm with people to say this because Hall of Fame is supposed to tell a story. It
Yep.
tells the story of baseball. So just like the PED or all the people who took steroids and all that stuff, put them in the Hall of Fame, but tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Put it on their plaque. Yes, Pete Rose, he has the most hits in history. He's one of the greats, but he also got banned because he was betting on games that he shouldn't have been doing. Barry Bonds, which they never really proved that Barry Bonds
No.
took steroids, but because Jose Canseco said that he did it, they believe him because he snitched on everybody else. Mark
Before
McGwire,
even he was a Hall of Famer before that. So
I agree. And let's just be real. Steroids wasn't banned from baseball until 2003.
yeah, they knew what was going on.
So and it wasn't just Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds thing. All of them was doing it for the most part.
Yeah, they didn't do nothing to the Astros when they cheated. So, like, come on, man. Like, I get it. Homie betted on baseball, but times has changed. It's more accepted. I get it. It was with some, some shady people at the end of the day. But you got the whole shit. You got the whole situation with Shohei Ohtani. Some people don't believe that whole situation. Him not knowing about his boy gambling all that money away. You got the whole situation with the Astros. They did nothing to the Astros at all to the point where it was detrimental or took away their championship. They're still going to put their success in the Hall of Fame. You can do Pete Rose. You can do Barry Bonds. You can do a lot of these cats. Mark McGwire, Sam, put him in. Because at the end of the day, even with steroids, you allowed that. You knew what was going on. You knew it was helping your sport. Like when Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire were going, that was when baseball was at its peak. You had Derek Jeter going on. Like I know Derek Jeter didn't do anything wrong, but around that time, baseball was the number one thing going. It really was. Like people literally, people literally stopped what they were doing to watch that home run race. Like put those cats in. I agree with you. Tell the whole story. It's the beautiful thing about sports and Hall of Fames and stuff like that. You get the whole story about everything that has happened. It's a history book of baseball. When you walk into Cooperstown, when you walk into the NFL Hall of Fame or the NBA Hall of Fame, like you want the whole story, good or bad. It's the beautiful thing about the sport. It just is what it is. Like you can't tell the story about baseball without Pete Rose, without Barry Bonds, without Sammy Sosa, without Mark McGwire. It just is what it is.
And the whole thing about it is that a lot of these people are voting for it as, writers who have vendettas against some of these players. We all know that
baseball's worse at that. Yeah. Baseball's terrible.
Because we all know Barry Bonds wasn't the most liked guy. He wasn't very nice to the media people. He really didn't care for them. And so a lot of them have venture out. Now, what's going to be interesting to me is 10 years from now, 15 years, 20 years from now, when a lot of those people who remember Barry Bonds were gone, whether they retired or passed away, and we get some of these young guys that are coming in, are they going to have the same venture?
No.
Or are they going to be like, well, if I'm looking at the stats, now, I'm looking at the numbers, he should get in. I'm going to let him in.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote him in.
The only thing that makes me nervous about situations like that, because a lot of these new bloods, like obviously you would assume that anybody that gets awarded the opportunity to vote, because that's a very important vote. That's a powerful thing to have when you have the opportunity to vote these players into the Hall of Fame, because that solidifies their whole career. You would hope that these people will be very, very knowledgeable about what the sport was back in the day and what the impact that Barry Bonds or any of these guys like a Pete Rose may have had. You know what I mean? You would assume that if you were honored enough to have that vote, you would definitely take the time to understand what Barry Bonds was to the culture of baseball and what kind of player he was. So I would assume that they wouldn't, because they didn't have to deal with Barry Bonds at all in those press conferences or interviews or anything like that. But it's a shame that, especially baseball writers are so sensitive You know what I mean? Like get over yourself, bro. At the end of the day, Barry Bonds, was he an asshole? He was. But should that deny him of him being in the Hall of Fame? No, not at all. You know what kind of player he was. You know how special he was. Put him in. Stop
and
being
and
selfish.
it's also with the steroids with him, just him in particular. He was already like that before the steroids. I don't like the steroids wasn't gonna enhance him to a point where it was just like he was undeniable. The dude was already undeniable when he was with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
You still got to hit the ball, bro. I don't care how buff you are. You still got to hit the ball. Like, you still have to have that hand and eye coordination. And baseball has always been this sport where they love to hold on these old rules. They love to just hold on to nostalgia or to the ways of the old days. Like, bro, you got to grow with the times. That's why baseball is was struggling. Now, I think baseball is doing a little bit better. You know what I mean? Obviously, could it be a lot better? Yeah. You know what I mean? I think baseball is important to American sports culture. It really is, because it used to be America's pastime. You know what I mean? Baseball used to be what football was. That's the reality of the situation. That's the impact that it had. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I think baseball is a beautiful sport. You know what I mean? I think it's beautiful in its own way, just like I think hockey, basketball, football. I know a lot of people like to kind of like battle each sport. You know what I mean? We see that with the NBA and NFL. Everybody always wants to be like, oh, the NFL is way better than... Bro, they're two different sports, bro. Yeah. Is NFL the most popular sport right now? It is. But we all know as time progresses, things change, things evolve. You never know. Basketball could be the best sport in 100 years from now, where America is all into basketball or baseball or MMA or boxing. You know what I mean? It's a fluid situation. So I think we got to appreciate all these players and athletes in sports, man, because these are some great pastimes, man, that get us through these years, man. And we see some great talent, man, that comes before our eyes, man, and we can't take that for granted. You know what I mean? Like situations like Barry Bonds, man, he was a once in a lifetime athlete that I don't think we may ever see again in that sense, with just how amazing he was at hitting the ball. Like he was great. The Ken Griffey Juniors, like the Shohei Ohtani's, like these are some great athletes that we don't get to see all the time. The LeBron Jameses, the Kobe Bryants, the Patrick Mahomes, like we don't get to see guys like this all the time. We gotta I hate Patrick Mahomes, but I respect him because he's that nice. He's that nice. He annoys the fuck out of me. I can't stand the way he talk, but that boy nice. he good. That boy good, and I appreciate what he brings to the sport. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. That's all we got today.
Yeah, man. Great episode, man. Some great topics.
Mm-hmm. All right, good people. If you look at the screen, you'll see the QR code for our WWE shop for all my wrestling fans out there. Get your latest gear, whether it be John Cena, Randy Orton, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair, LA Knight, Jacob Fatu, the OTC, my man Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. Seth freaking Rollins, and just to name a few out there. Go to the WWE shop, get your gear, and yeah, man, use our QR code, man. Also, get our merch, Cris Style Mal t-shirts on our Printify link on all our social media sites. We got the white ones, we got the black ones, we got the golden night ones, and we got the dad hats. So go ahead and go to our Printifies and get our shirts, man.
Please do.
And if you want to donate to the Cris Style Mal podcast, you can donate to our Cash App, Cris Style or Cris Style Mal podcast. Whatever you want to donate to us, we will be greatly appreciated. And whatever streaming platform you use, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, whatever you use to listen to your podcast, Cris Style Mal podcast is available. Also, if you're first time watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification button. So when we go live on Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, that's 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can jump in the lives. You can give us your opinion on these topics. Do you feel like P. Rose should be in the Hall of Fame? How do you feel about the Bill Belichick? How do you feel about the NFL schedule? Did they get it right with your team? Or did they screw your team with an early bye week? How you feeling? Do you think the NBA lottery, draft lottery is rigged? Let us know. And if you're listening on the playback, give us your opinion in the comment section too. But subscribe to the channel. And whatever social media platform you use, whether it be X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and Twitch, whatever you use to do your social media on, the Cris Style Mal podcast is available at Cris Style Mal. You can follow us. We'll follow you back. We're just some regular guys who like to talk sports, music, movies, and all kinds of various other things. So go ahead and hit us with that follow. And if you have a critique or feedback, or if you have a question or topic that you want us to bring up on the show, and we like said topic, we will bring it up. We'll shout you out because we want to show love to those who show love to us. So go ahead and hit us up via email, DM, or our mentions, and we will get back to you. All right, good people. I hope you have a good rest of your evening. We will be back Monday to recap everything that happens over the weekend, NBA, any NFL news, all news, sports, or, music, movies, whatever. We will be back on Monday to recap it all. So until then, good people, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week.